From Joliet, Illinois, we are live once again for the USF New Year's Classic. In Game 2 of today's doubleheader, the Cougars of St. Xavier take on the Bulldogs of McPherson, and we're ready to get rolling. St. Xavier in silver, McPherson in black, and the tip is won by the Cougars, going right to left and striking quickly as they so often do. It's Kevin Bishop laying it in for the first 2 points of the game. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call for this game as McPherson is able to beat the St. Xavier press. Cougars will try to speed up everybody they play, second in the nation, averaging 97 points per game. Lob down low for Colin Storr, who lays it in. We're tied at 2. Again, St. Xavier will try to operate quickly. Ashton Atwater, Julian Barr, Jordan Jackson, Kevin Bishop, and Andre Brandon are their starters. This is Brandon making a nice move in the paint, scoring and getting fouled. So Andre Brandon has a chance for a three-point play now as he goes to the line to try to make it 5-2. A lot of action just 40 seconds in. Starters for the Bulldogs today are Jamil Hardaway, Curtis Rose, Terrence Austin, KJ Marshall, and Colin Storr. Andre Brandon's free throw is good. It is a three-point play. Brandon, a 13-point per game scorer, off to a good start today. Again, the Cougars put on the press, and the Bulldogs are able to beat it. Three-pointer for Jamil Hardaway, misses. Fight for the rebound, knocked out of bounds, last touched by St. Xavier. TJ Eskildsen is the sixth-year head coach of McPherson. Bulldogs come into today's game with a 4-7 record. That has not been the norm under Eskildsen. They've had winning campaigns 4 of his first 5 years at the school. Knocked out of bounds, last touched by Curtis Rose, and so St. Xavier forces the turnover. They'll do that. They force about 18 turnovers per game. Three-pointer Brandon off the back iron. Rebound goes to Jamil Hardaway, and here come the Bulldogs. They want to run now. Curtis Rose up to the wing. Looking down low, finds KJ Marshall there. Marshall pushed out towards the corner by Jordan Jackson, and the Bulldogs swing it around. Austin gets into the post to Storr. Colin Storr backs in, has the ball stripped, chased down by Marshall and kept alive by the Bulldogs. 5 to shoot. Hardaway jacks up the 3 and knocks it down. We're tied at 5. St. Xavier at the top. It's Jackson. And an offensive foul called on Jordan Jackson. A little reach around on the drive. First foul on St. Xavier, first on Jackson. Terrence Austin's pass, is over the head of Hardaway, but somehow the Bulldogs keep it alive. So they will get to play out this possession. 5-5 score. Austin drives all the way in. Little fake, shoots and draws the foul. Trying to get it over Kevin Bishop. Bishop has whistled for his first. He's going to check out along with the rest of the Cougars. Robert Ford, in his 4th year coaching St. Xavier, likes to do the full line shifts. So after the first free throw from Austin, we'll see 5 new Cougars. Austin makes the first foul shot. So the new 5 on the floor for St. Xavier include Marco Toyagic, Makai Wilson, Mason Kabelkis. Second free throw rims in. Davion Lawrence is in. I think I'm missing one. Sando Hill has the ball right now. There's your 5 for the Cougars. Hill gives it out to Lawrence, and Davion Lawrence misses the 3. Jamil Hardaway tracks down the rebound. Hardaway pressured in the backcourt, gives it to Curtis Rose, who walks across the timeline. Right to left, Austin for 3. Missed it short. Offensive rebound chased down by Curtis Rose. Rose dribbles outside. Bounce down to the post. Colin Storr is called for the travel. Bulldogs turn it over. St. Xavier takes the ball back, trailing by 2. Couple minutes since they last scored. Sando Hill gets the screen, bounces back to Tojagic, and Tojagic is met by a McPherson defender. Colin Storr forced the miss. Austin lobs it underneath. Curtis Rose, reverse layup. Good ball movement from the Bulldogs. Their lead is 4. They've scored 7 consecutive points. Makai Wilson, pull-up jumper with the right hand, missed it. Rebound Rose. Sends it ahead for Hardaway. Jamil Hardaway, layup, no, but a foul. That foul was on Davion Lawrence, junior out of Moraine Valley Community College, transferred into St. Xavier right down the street from Moraine. Jamil Hardaway gets 2 free throws. First one is good. It's an 8-0 run for McPherson as St. Xavier brings their starters back in. So the reserve unit only got about a minute of action. We'll see them again. Two for 2 for Hardaway. 9 straight points for the Bulldogs. We'll see if the St. Xavier lineup can change that. Brandon gives it up to Julian Barr. Barr loses the ball, and he grabs a shirt full of KJ Marshall on his way down. So a foul called on Barr. Cougars turn it over. McPherson basketball leading by 6. 3.5 minutes in. Curtis Rose, double team, flings it across half court, deflected to Hardaway, and Hardaway is able to get it across half court with a second to spare. Here's Storr, kicks it outside. Hardaway looking for the screen, doesn't use it, backs up instead. Shot clock under 10 for Curtis Rose. Rose towards the sideline, shadowed by Julian Barr, fires a 3, misses it short. And the rebound is grabbed by Kevin Bishop. Bishop trots along the sideline, right up to the 3-point stripe. Kicks it outside. Drive from Ashton Atwater. Back out and around. Barr steps inside the 3-point line. Little runner, drops for him. Snaps a scoreless streak of about 3.5 minutes for St. Xavier. The 9-0 run from McPherson comes to an end. And again, the Bulldogs are able to break the press. Rose to Austin, pull up from the elbow. Perfect shot. So far, the Bulldogs have been able to keep up with this mighty St. Xavier offense pretty well. Cougars are struggling a bit on the offensive end. Trying to change that. It's bounced inside to Bishop. Bishop pulls up in the lane, blocked by Storr. Colin Storr turns it away, and here come the Bulldogs, already ahead by 6. Curtis Rose slows things down. Rose pulls up at the free throw line. Jumper is good. Curtis Rose for McPherson, shaken up on defense. The drive from Ashton Atwater comes up short. Hardaway's able to track down the rebound, but he can't keep it in bounds. If he had just let that one go, actually, I think Terrence Austin was in position to pick up the loose ball. But he tried to poke it to keep it alive while he was on the floor and ended up dropping out of bounds. So it's timeout with 14:44 to play in the first half. Fast start. McPherson leads 15-7. I'll be back in a moment. Good start for McPherson. They forced a few St. Xavier turnovers. They're shooting the ball well early on. And they've opened up a quick 8-point lead, 15-7. But the St. Xavier team won't go down quietly. They come in with an 8-3 record overall. And their 3 losses were, well, 2 of their 3 losses were close. They got blown out by Grace back in mid-November, but the other 2 losses came by a combined 3 points. So you can expect them to be very competitive. Despite a slow start, they bring their reserves back in. Sando Hill flings it outside to Davion Lawrence. Lawrence drives, lays it up and in. Bulldogs have turned to their bench. Charles Snyder is in the game, so is Antonio Watson. Watson was trapped. He was able to get it away, though, to Dallas Metzger. Curtis Rose and KJ Marshall remain in the game, along with the 3 subs. This is Marshall. Marshall kicks it outside to Rose. Nice drive from Rose. Pulls up in the paint, kicks it outside. Snyder has an open 3, and he misses it. And it bounces over the backboard out of bounds. Sando Hill walks it up the floor, kicked out to Lawrence. Davion Lawrence scored on the last possession, trying to make it 2 in a row. He's blocked by Marshall, but Lawrence gets it right back and puts it in. So Lawrence has scored on back-to-back possessions. There's a block in the middle of it all, but it did not deter him. Curtis Rose and Antonio Watson work to get the ball down the floor, and Rose does just that. Cross court to Watson. Watson picked up by Toyagic. Drives on the baseline. Pulls it back out. Stripped for a moment by Sando Hill. Picked it right back up, though. Metzger for 3. Off the mark. McPherson has gone cold now. St. Xavier trying to take advantage. Little floater goes for Kabelkis. 2-point game. 15-13. 6 in a row for St. Xavier. Snyder gives it to Marshall. Marshall along the baseline. Turns and runs into a defender. Back outside. Watson for 3. No. Fight for the loose ball. Knocked out of bounds. It's St. Xavier basketball. DJ Shelton checks in for the Cougars. Shelton around a screen, back over to Lawrence. Davion Lawrence works against Marshall, picks up his dribble. Finds the shooter, that's Makai Wilson who misses. Rebound goes to Rose, knocked out of his hands, loose on the floor, and the Bulldogs come away with it. Now they push, Watson all the way in. Watson lays it in over Makai Wilson. Good drive from Antonio Watson. McPherson maintains their lead. Sando Hill over to Makai Wilson. Shelton backs up. Now Shelton turns on the Jets. His pass in towards Toyagic is intercepted. McPherson forces the turnover. Metzger stripped. Loose ball secured by Davion Lawrence. Down the floor, intercepted by Watson. Getting sloppy here over the last minute. Both teams turn it over. McPherson has it up by 4 under 12 minutes to play in the first half. Curtis Rose slowly walks to the opposite side of the floor to set up the offense. Crossover on Shelton, gets inside and lays it in. Curtis Rose extends the lead back to 6. It's been as big as 8. Shelton on the far side, working against Rose. Underneath the basket, good fake to the left, and Shelton frees himself up to lay it in on the right side. Rose fires it ahead to Snyder. Watson slows it down. Antonio Watson crosses over on Sando Hill, and Hill is called for the foul. Fifth foul on St. Xavier. McPherson has been called for only one. The Cougars bring their starters back on the floor. Dallas Metzger is the inbounder. He gives it to Aaron Williams Jr. just in off the bench. Williams is stuck. Back towards half court. Able to connect with Watson. Charles Snyder. Down low to Colin Storr with the shot clock running out. Storr lays it in. Colin Storr has his second field goal of the game. He's been red hot of late. 55 points his last two games coming into today. Drive from Bishop. He's fouled on his way to the hoop. He'll go to the line for two shots. First foul on Colin Storr. Kevin Bishop, 58% free throw shooter, at the line for two. Makes the first one. Bishop is the second leading scorer on this team, averaging 13 points per game. One of four players averaging 10 or more. There are 6 averaging 9 or more. St. Xavier picking up the pressure defensively. Watson is hounded by 3 guys and fouled. That's on Jordan Jackson. Number 2 on Jackson. Metzger takes it to Ashton Atwater, fires the 3 and misses it. Atwater lost his shoe. I don't know why you wouldn't try to take him off the dribble. He really couldn't move laterally, I don't think. Jackson goes up for the layup and draws the foul. If I'm a defender and I lose my shoe and the first response from the defender or the offensive player is to fire a quick jump shot, I'm thrilled. Atwater had time to put his shoe back on before getting back down to the offensive side. Jackson's free throw is good. 21-18, 3-point game. McPherson has been ahead pretty much the entirety of the first 10 minutes by as many as 8. It's 3 right now, though, and Jackson can make it 2. He does. Aaron Williams races along the sideline. Gives it up to Watson, swung into the corner for Snyder. Long 2-point jumper is an air ball. Out of bounds, and it's going St. Xavier's way. So the Cougars, who haven't led since 5-2, will get a chance to tie or take the lead here. Dallas Metzger leaves. Terrence Austin back on the floor for McPherson. He got off to a good offensive start before departing. Andre Brandon gives it up to Julian Barr. Here's Jackson, and Jackson is fouled on the floor. They're calling it a little bit tight right now, which is never to St. Xavier's benefit. It's a team that plays an extremely aggressive defense. And so if the officials continue to call it this close on the floor, mean a lot of free throws for McPherson. It's a timeout with 9:47 to play in the first half. Bulldogs lead the Cougars 21-19. I'll be back in a moment. McPherson leads 21-19. A little bit of a slow scoring start compared to what you might expect from St. Xavier. They move as quickly as they can. They score 97 a game. They give up 89 a game. And both teams are well below their average, those averages, I should say, right now. Instead, we're playing right at McPherson's typical pace. Bulldogs score 79 a game, and they give up 79 a game. Came into today with a 4-7 record, a lot of close losses. At one point, they dropped 6 consecutive games. But they enter this one on a 2-game winning streak, trying to make it 3 in a row. Jumped out to an early lead. St. Xavier is threatening to end that lead. Jordan Jackson loses the ball, chases it back down along the baseline. Working against Terrence Austin. He gives it up. Ashton Atwater, three-pointer misses. Fight for the rebound, won by Bishop. Kevin Bishop back up, too hard off the glass. Another chance for Bishop, but a foul called on the loose ball. We're going the other way. Cougars got a couple of chances on that possession. We're not able to capitalize, and then on the loose ball foul, St. Xavier has gone over their limit. So 9:28 to play in the first half. McPherson's already shooting free throws, and that goes back to what I was just talking about before the timeout. St. Xavier gets pretty handsy defensively, and so they rely, at least to some extent, on a tight whistle from the officials if they want to play their best game. First free throw is good for Storr. He'll get one more. But the officials have had kind of a loose whistle early on today. And that puts McPherson in a position where they may be shooting a lot from the line. McPherson is a very good free throw shooting team. 77% as a group this year. And Colin Storr goes 2 for 2 on this particular trip. 4-point game. Ashton Atwater out to Bishop. Bishop at the top of the key. Puts the ball on the floor and bounces off to his right. Here's Jackson. Jackson drives on Terrence Austin. Gets underneath the basket. Double team, looking for help. Finds an open shooter outside. Atwater for 3, too strong. Another offensive rebound for St. Xavier. Brandon back up with it and puts it in. Andre Brandon makes it a 2-point game. Here's Jamil Hardaway. Pass to a cutting Terrence Austin, high off the glass and in. Off the feed from Ty Schroeder. And now a foul called on McPherson as Jackson hits the ground. Excuse me, that was Julian Barr who hit the ground. He's helped up. That is foul number 5 on McPherson. Subs coming on for the Cougars as they bring the second unit in. Slight holdup before the inbounds play. Davion Lawrence maybe is bleeding. Has got to get cleaned up before he can continue to play. Whether it's blood or something else on his jersey, probably blood. Usually that's the issue. Can't play out on the court with any exposed blood, so they're going to clean up his jersey. They got the trainer hard at work. They need to send that jersey to the laundromat, though. I don't think he's bleeding. I don't know where it came from. He just checked in, for the record. Davion Lawrence was not on the floor. He's not the guy who was fouled. He's not the guy who was knocked down. He just checked in and immediately was told, hey, go clean yourself up before you can play. So now we're going again. Sando Hill's pass deflected by Austin and stolen. Austin going one-on-one with Shelton, draws the contact. Terrence Austin came into today's game averaging 8 points per game, just 35% shooter, and only 2 of 14 from beyond the arc. So he hasn't had a great offensive season, but he has certainly been the aggressor today for McPherson. He's been looking to create his own shots. This time he gets to the free throw line where he misses the first one. Was a 2-shot foul, so one more coming. 1 for 2. It's a 5-point game. Last 3 points for the Bulldogs have come from the line. Sando Hill shovels it out to Davion Lawrence. Lawrence spins his way inside. Opposite end, Makai Wilson misses the 3. Out of bounds, last touch by St. Xavier. So McPherson takes over, up by 5. Fighting against this St. Xavier full court press. Hardaway gets it across half court. Hardaway goes in quickly, comes up short on the layup. And Colin Storr, I think, was held on the rebound. So Storr is going back to the free throw line. Foul is called on Toyagic. First foul on him. This will be a 1-and-1 for Storr. Made 2 of 2 on his last trip. But this time he misses the front end, and Terrence Austin grabs the rebound. Second chance is right there for the Bulldogs. Timeout, St. Xavier. 8:10 to play, first half. McPherson leads St. Xavier 28-21. Their biggest lead so far has been 8. Cougars have led by as many as 3. We've seen 1 tie and 1 lead change in the game. Cougars aren't shooting the ball all that well. They have picked up the pace, as they always do, and they've sped McPherson up a little bit, but weirdly, in that sped up style of play, the Bulldogs have looked a little bit more comfortable than the Cougars have. So coming out of the timeout, St. Xavier has brought their starters back in. Barr, Atwater, Jackson, Bishop, and Brandon. This is Atwater across the timeline. Atwater, guarded by Schroeder, gives it up. Julian Barr works his way around, all the way inside. Barr banks it home. Big bucket for St. Xavier coming out of the timeout. They had been struggling prior to that. Good passing from McPherson as they try to beat this press. Aaron Williams lobs it across half court, finds Austin. Austin spins around the trap. Terrence Austin gets it inside. He's blocked by Bishop. It'll stay with McPherson as Bishop's block goes out of bounds. Austin is the inbounder. Into Aaron Williams Jr. Swung around to the right, Jamil Hardaway. Shot clock at 7. Hardaway's pass goes out of bounds. He was looking for Colin Storr, but he misguided it. And so St. Xavier creates a turnover and gets the ball back. Atwater to his left. Pulls up, passes outside. Here's Jordan Jackson, penetrates, kicks, Barr, open 3, and Julian Barr is heating up. He has scored the last 5 for St. Xavier. 2-point game. McPherson beats the press, and now they've got numbers. Hardaway bounces in tight, Schroeder lays it in. First 2 points of the game for him. He had only played 13 minutes all season coming into today. That's his second field goal of the year. Andre Brandon kicks it outside to Jackson. Jackson, step back 3, rims out, rebound Colin Storr. Storr calls timeout. He hurt his ankle, it looked like, or if he didn't hurt it, he was off balance. He is limping off the floor. He grabbed the rebound, came down awkwardly on the ankle, and was crumbling to the floor, and as he did so, he signaled timeout because he knew if he didn't, he would have been called for a travel. And he did get the timeout in before the travel. So it will be McPherson ball coming out of the timeout. 6 minutes, 26 seconds remaining in the first half. And you look at the scoreboard and you really get a sense of how much St. Xavier has been able to speed up the game, because They haven't shot the ball all that well. They're well below their pace scoring-wise, and yet we've still got 56 points on the board 13 and a half minutes into the game, even without a particularly high shooting percentage. There's been a lot of possessions in this one. McPherson hasn't exactly tried to slow down the game. They've played pretty comfortably at that up-tempo pace. Inbounded to Austin from Curtis Rose. Austin fires ahead to Snyder, and it's too far out in front of him. So Austin tried to move a little bit too fast that time. Here's Sando Hill. Hill at the free throw line. Shovels it off to Davion Lawrence. Lawrence's three-pointer is off. Rebounded by KJ Marshall. Snyder in the corner. Out to Rose. Austin lobs it for Marshall in the post, working against Makai Wilson. Toyagic comes over to help, and he forces Marshall to travel. Turned over by McPherson. Hill over to Toyagic. Lawrence in the post, backs in on Marshall. Turn around with the right hand. Off the backboard, no good, and Snyder grabs the rebound. St. Xavier's hit another scoring lull. McPherson hasn't scored in a few minutes either. Austin has the ball right now, trying to help change that. He gives it to Snyder. Right back to Terrence Austin. Pull up from the baseline, knocks down the jumper. 6-point game with just over 5 minutes to play in the half. Hill, Lawrence into the corner, Toyagic. Toyagic drives on Snyder, loses his footing, keeps the play alive though, out to Makai Wilson. No good on the three. Here comes Curtis Rose. Rose turns on the Jets, gets inside, ball knocked away and out of bounds. 4:49 to play, first half. McPherson has the lead, 32-26. Back in a moment. (32-26) McPherson over St. Xavier. 4:49 to play in the first half. This is about where this game has been played. McPherson has had a 2-possession lead for most of the way so far. Trying to create a little separation. St. Xavier has not shot the ball well, so they've had a tough time making a run to get back into it. It's the second time this year that the Cougars have been in this building, technically the third. They played the Thanksgiving weekend event here, so they played on Saturday and Sunday. And they went 1-1 in those two games, including the Sunday game. They fell by an 80-79 final against Lords, which was their lowest scoring output of the season. The only time all year they've been held under 80 points. Plenty of time for them to get to 80 today, but they're a long way from that pace at the moment. Austin in the corner, trapped immediately, and his pass is intercepted by Bishop. Bishop going one-on-one with Hardaway. Nice fake, draws the foul. He'll go to the line. Nice play by Bishop. Not a very good pass from Austin. I think his visibility was just not good. As he was trapped in the corner, he had about 3 open players closer to the ball than the one he tried to get it to, but Bishop jumped in front of that pass, and it was an easy interception from him. Kevin Bishop, the left-handed shooter, knocks down the first free throw. 32-27. You got them both. 32-28, 4-point game. This is Hardaway, picked up by Bishop, but he gets across half court. Throws it to Austin. Austin was afraid of the ball for a second there because he wasn't established in the front court, but he was able to pull it in, and he did not get the backcourt violation. Hardaway maybe a little too quick for that pass. Out to Curtis Rose. 6 on the shot clock. Rose gets a screen to his left. 3 to shoot. Hardaway, long 3. Good. Big shot for McPherson. Jamil Hardaway with the time running out on that possession. Jackson over to Bishop. Back to Jordan Jackson. He's got an open 3 in response. It's 35-31. 3-pointers for both teams. It's right back to a 4-point game. Austin puts the ball behind his back, finds Hardaway, trying to make it 2 straight threes, and he does. All of a sudden, it's raining threes. Here's all that offense we were expecting. 9 points in the last 30 seconds. Julian Barr along the baseline. Barr is blocked by Marshall. McPherson takes it away. Curtis Rose right back to Hardaway. Hardaway looked like he wanted to fire a 3rd 3, but Atwater was right in his face. Austin instead takes the 3-pointer, and he hits it. And all of a sudden, McPherson has their biggest lead of the game, 41-31, with just over 3 minutes to play. Here's Bishop. Bishop backs in on Snyder, and an offensive foul call as Snyder takes the hit.
Xavier foul number 11, Kevin Bishop, his second. Team's 10.
That is an offensive foul. So it will not give McPherson free throws, but they are in the double bonus. Rose set to inbound. He finds Dallas Metzger. Austin across half court to Ty Schroeder. Slows down the possession on the outside of the 3-point arc. Metzger for 3. Off the side of the rim, and it ricochets out of bounds with 2:45 to play in the half. Jackson steps back, fires over to Barr. Barr drives on Metzger. His pass is kicked by KJ Marshall. Shot clock was down to 19. It'll reset to 20. For St. Xavier's, they inbound from the baseline. Pass deflected in the air and intercepted by Rose. Great defensive play by Rose, and somehow the offensive play is kept alive too as Metzger pokes it inbounds. Marshall is able to finish, and a foul. What a weird play from McPherson. First of all, Rose deflected the inbounds play. Then he tried to throw it off of a Cougar's foot. Sent it right back out of bounds, but instead he pushed it right through his legs. And it looked like the ball was going to go out the sideline. Dallas Metzger came out of nowhere, just punched the ball to keep it in bounds. KJ Marshall flew to the hoop, went in for the one-handed dunk, and instead he was fouled, so he just threw the ball towards the basket. It went in, and it is a 3-point play. Bizarre happenings here at St. Francis as the Bulldogs come up with a 3-point play, make it a 13-point lead. DeAndre Warren is into the game for St. Xavier. This is Sando Hill backing in. Outside to Lawrence. Davion Lawrence kicks it to the wing. Hill underneath the basket, stepped out of bounds. It was not called. Instead, a foul is called on St. Xavier. Maybe I saw that one wrong. I thought his entire right foot was out of bounds. I didn't think he even just stepped on the line. Looked like he was way out, but I'm not at the best angle for that. In fact, the McPherson bench was not yelling for that call. They were yelling for a travel, which they didn't get. Instead, Sando Hill is at the free throw line. He makes the first. Second shot for Hill is good. 44-33 with 2:10 to play in the half. Terrence Austin works against Julian Barr as he gets across half court. Picks up his dribble, double team, and is able to find Curtis Rose. Rose fires it off to Schroeder. Nice little shovel pass to Marshall, who finishes at the rim. Great ball movement from McPherson. Hill on the wing. 15 to shoot. Into the corner. Sando Hill's pass intercepted by Curtis Rose. Rose layup over Jackson, no good. Rebound to St. Xavier, and Rose jumps in front of the pass and intercepts it. Here's Austin in the corner. Terrence Austin lays it up, and he's fouled by Barr. A lot of turnovers in this first half. McPherson can extend their lead to 15 on Austin's 2 free throws. Austin is, generally speaking, not a great shooter, but he's lights out from the line, 88%. 47-33. Atwater and Bishop come in for the Cougars. Robert Ford mixing and matching a little bit more here rather than his early game strategy, his usual strategy of doing a lot of 5-for-5 swaps. 15-point game. Biggest lead of the afternoon for McPherson. We'll see if St. Xavier can cut into it in the 75 seconds before halftime. Jackson trying to do just that, and he makes the 3. 12-point game. Metzger to Rose. Rose fires across half court. Now here comes McPherson with a 2-man advantage. Austin pull-up jumper, no. Rebound tipped around. Bishop pulls it in. Kevin Bishop fires ahead to Jackson. Jackson is stripped by Rose. Rose ahead to Austin all alone in the front court. He tries to get showy, and he got lucky. But Curtis Rose is able to catch that and lay it in. St. Xavier very nearly took that ball away after Austin's pass off the backboard. Bishop backs in. Bishop is fouled. That's on Ty Schroeder, number 3 on him. 2 shots for Kevin Bishop. Bishop misses the first one. 2 of 3 at the line today. Jamil Hardaway back in for probably the final offensive possession of the half for McPherson, assuming they get the ball back here off the free throw. Bishop goes 1 for 2. 50-37, 33 seconds. So there is a shot clock, but a foul called on St. Xavier will send Aaron Williams to the free throw line right away. First foul on DeAndre Warren. 2 shots for Williams. Williams playing just his 4th game of the year for McPherson. He's been good when he's been out there. Missed the last couple of wins, though. First free throw is good. Just to make it a 15-point game again. It's good. So again, there is technically a shot clock. St. Xavier can ignore it if they want to. They can take the final shot here. There's only a 1-second difference. It looks like that's what they're going to do. First time all game they've tried to slow things down. Atwater gives it to Jackson. With the clock running down, Jackson fires over to Warren. Warren's got 4 seconds. Jordan Jackson off balance 3 is short, and that'll do it for the first half. Great first half for the McPherson Bulldogs. They led pretty much the whole way And they open up a 15-point lead at the break. So St. Xavier's got their work cut out for them. However, this is the second highest scoring team in the nation. They average about 49 points per half. So don't count them out at all. They had a sluggish first 20 minutes, but they've got 20 more to prove themselves. I'll be back in 15. I'll get you some first half stats and get ready to go for half number 2. 52-37, McPherson over St. Xavier at the break. Halftime here in Joliet, but we're just about set to start the second half. McPherson leads St. Xavier 52-37. They shot 56% from the field in the first half. Cougars just 39%. A little bit of a slow start offensively through the first 12 minutes or so for both teams until McPherson got hot. It wasn't a slow start, just maybe a little bit slower than would have been expected. St. Xavier was led by Jordan Jackson's 8 points in the first half. Kevin Bishop and Julian Barr each had 7. For McPherson, Terrence Austin, 16 points already in today's game. Austin came into today averaging just 8 points per game, and he's doubled that in 20 minutes of play. 20 minutes of gameplay. He played 15 minutes in the first half. Jamil Hardaway played well as well. 11 points for him. Curtis Rose filling the stat sheet. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals for Rose. McPherson had 7 steals in that first half, and despite their high-pressure defense, St. Xavier only had 2. The Bulldogs out-rebounded the Cougars 22-11. So there's some of your key stats from the first half. Figures to be a very competitive second half as the two teams take the floor. They've flipped sides. McPherson will take the first possession, going now right to left. Austin gets it to Jamil Hardaway across half court. Terrence Austin sets it up. There's Curtis Rose. Inside Snyder. Charles Snyder's layup comes up short. The rebound goes to Atwater. Cougars operating quickly. Julian Barr throws it towards the rim, and he's fouled. A lot of fouls in the first half. The two teams combined for 21 of them. We saw 25 total free throws in the first half. And we're about to see our first 2 here in the second half coming from Julian Barr, who's got 7 points so far in the game. These are his first free throw attempts. And the first one is good. Second shot from Barr gives him 9 points for the game. It's a team high so far today. Going to pull St. Xavier within 13. Hardaway across half court to Snyder. Charles Snyder finds KJ Marshall under the basket, and Marshall lays it in. KJ Marshall's got 7. Here's Andre Brandon, no good. Second chance, got it, and a foul. St. Xavier has come out hot here in the second half after struggling to score for much of the first half. If Brandon can make this free throw, it'll be 5 points in the first 42 seconds of the second half, although they did the same thing in the first. He scored 5 points in the first 45 seconds and then went quiet for a long time. Free throw is good. It is a 3-point play. Terrence Austin trapped, has the ball knocked away. His pass deflected, but Snyder pulls it in and passes across half court. Here's Curtis Rose with the layup. Rose is in double figures, third Bulldog to reach the 10-point plateau in today's game. Brandon backs it on Snyder, kicks it outside. Jackson wide open 3, good. Jordan Jackson has made 3 3-pointers today. Again, the Bulldogs are able to beat the press. Now it's 2-on-1. Snyder takes it right at Bishop, and Bishop gets his hands on the ball. A jump ball is called. Possession error to St. Xavier. 12 combined points already on the board here in the second half. 1 minute and 24 seconds in. Here's Atwater kicking it out to Brandon, all alone for 3, and St. Xavier strikes again. That's their second made 3-pointer of the second half. They had only 3 made 3-pointers in the first half. The Cougars get the steal. It's Barr in the corner, lobbing it outside. Jordan Jackson. Jackson, layup is good, and it's just a 6-point game. You figured the Cougars weren't going to stay down all game. 37 points in a half is extremely low for them. They've already got 13 points this half in just 2 minutes. Long pass across half court to Snyder. He hands it to Austin. A little leaner in the lane for Austin is good. McPherson needed that just to regain their equilibrium after St. Xavier's been running circles around them the last few minutes. Brandon over to Jackson. Jackson drives left hand, goes up with 2 hands, scores, and a foul. Jackson has been great today. He's got 13 points and can make it 15, or 14 rather, from the line. Free throw is good, 5-point game. This is more in line with where this game has been. McPherson had the 15-point lead at halftime, but it was in single digits for most of that first half. And it's back there now as Curtis Rose tiptoes the sideline and passes back to Jamil Hardaway. Rose lobbed in the post for Marshall. Marshall has some space in front of Jackson, backs in, lays it up and scores. McPherson's offense has not been slowed down in this second half. They still look sharp. Good ball work by Bishop, drives around Snyder and scores. But their lead is down 10 points because St. Xavier's playing at an incredible pace offensively. Now they get the steal. Jackson, step back for 3, no good. Offensive rebound. Brandon lays it in. Couple of second chance efforts for St. Xavier already in this second half as well. They were out-rebounded by 11 in the first half. Just a 3-point game. Hardaway fires to Snyder across half court. Snyder into Marshall. 1 dribble, Marshall is fouled. Third on Kevin Bishop. KJ Marshall's at the line for 2 shots. 60-57. It's as close as it's been in a while. And again, McPherson scoring just fine. 8 points in 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Typically, that's a good number. But St. Xavier has scored 20 points in that same time frame. First free throw is good. St. Xavier makes the line change. Shelton, Wilson, Lawrence, Hill, and Tojagic are on the floor. And Marshall makes both free throws. Antonio Watson checks in for McPherson. Bulldogs are playing without Colin Storr right now. Storr is their leading scorer. He left late in the first half with an apparent ankle injury. Sando Hill fights his way in, off the glass, no good, and Marshall gets the rebound. Watson hounded by Hill all the way across half court. Working against the trap. He's able to get it over to Terrence Austin. Austin is called for the travel. St. Xavier's pressure defense hasn't worked out too well for them throughout most of today's game, but they gave McPherson fits right there. Here's Hill. Sando Hill drives. Hill, nice move in the air, but can't finish the layup. Hardaway gets the rebound. Austin into the corner for Hardaway. 3-pointer, no good. Rebound grab by Tojagic, who's fouled by Terrence Austin. Second foul on Austin. It's the third on the team. 15:39 to play. Second half. Aaron Williams Jr. comes back in for McPherson. DJ Shelton sets up the offense for St. Xavier. Shelton bounces to Toyagic. Down low, Davion Lawrence. Lawrence, turnaround with the right hand, scores. Good passing by McPherson, 2-on-1. Williams takes it in and lays it up. 2 points for Williams. First field goal of the day for him. DJ Shelton blows by Curtis Rose and lays it in for 2 more. Here comes Aaron Williams. Williams, by a couple of defenders, has an easy layup. Up and down they go. 5-point lead for McPherson. Davion Lawrence for 3. Short. Rebound tipped around and an over-the-back call against DJ Shelton. 14:46 to play. We come to our first time out of the second half, and a lot has happened already this half. 38 points on the board in the first 5 minutes and 14 seconds. I'll take a quick breather here. 66-61 our score. McPherson College, 66. St. Xavier University, 61. 14:46 to play. A lot of time left in this game. McPherson has not trailed since it was 5-2. And as you could probably guess, that came in the opening minutes of the game. They've been up by as many as 15. And that was the score at halftime, 52-37. St. Xavier came on really strong to start this second half, and now we'll see if they can keep it up as things start to settle down a little bit. Curtis Rose will inbound out of the timeout. Rose lobs it for Aaron Williams, who's immediately double teamed. Williams able to get it away to Watson, and McPherson gets across half court. Metzger lobs it for Marshall off his hands. They were looking for the alley-oop. Marshall couldn't pull it in. Bishop drives on the other end. Pulls up, good body control, off the glass and in. 3-point game. Watson ahead for Curtis Rose. This is Aaron Williams. Step back jumper is good. Williams is hot to start the second half. Not even a field goal attempt in the first half. He's 3 for 3 in the last minute and a half. Brandon out to Atwater. 3-ball is on the money, and it's just a 2-point game. Nobody is missing shots in this second half. Aaron Williams fires to Rose. Here's Metzger across half court. 2-on-1 break. Metzger leans in and shoots for 2. Two sides trading buckets. Bar out to Jackson. Here's Andre Brandon into the cutting Atwater. Atwater gives it up to Bishop, and Bishop finishes at the rim. Here comes Watson. Watson is fouled. He'll go to the line. Fourth foul on Bishop. That's a big one. Kevin Bishop has been one of the better players on the floor for St. Xavier today. Their second leading scorer for the season. Second leading scorer and second leading rebounder. And Antonio Watson is at the free throw line for 2 shots. Watson's first is good, 71-68. So McPherson stays in the lead, where they've been for a while, and they can guarantee they'll remain in the lead for at least a few more seconds. If he makes this one, it makes it a two-possession contest. (72-68), 13:10 on the clock. Jordan Jackson walks it down. And off to Andre Brandon. Brandon works his way inside, guarded by Watson. Brandon throws it towards the rim, no good off the glass. Fight for the rebound, Brandon comes away with it. Second chance for him, he scores, and a foul. Second foul on Charles Snyder. And Brandon is at the free throw line. Looking to make it a one-point game. This is as close as we've been in quite a while, 72-71. McPherson led by 15 at the half. And without playing poorly on offense, they've seen that lead crumble down to 1 in just 7 minutes. Here's Watson, no good. Fight for the loose ball, won by Davion Lawrence. St. Xavier can take their first lead since the opening minutes on this possession. Jackson gets the screen, it's a moving screen. Davion Lawrence is called for the offensive foul. Third on Lawrence. Bishop has committed 4. So Robert Ford may have some front court depth issues over the remainder of today's game. Aaron Williams flips it across half court to Watson. Williams has used up half the shot clock, guarded by Lawrence, far from the basket. Starts to make his move, lost the ball for a second, had to get it back. Now fires a jumper in the face of Lawrence, no good. Another chance for St. Xavier to take the lead. Andre Brandon for 3, and St. Xavier is on top, 74-72. They have already scored as many points in the second half as they did in the first. 37 points in just 8 minutes. First lead since 5-2. Curtis Rose keeps it in bounds. Rose bounces it to Charles Snyder. Snyder reverse layup, ties it up at 74. First time we've been tied since it was 5-5. Jackson spins inside, wild shot misses. Snyder grabs the rebound, and Watson is fouled by Julian Barr. That is foul number 5 on St. Xavier. Both teams already have committed 5 fouls, so I think we're going to see a lot of free throws again in the second half, just like we did in the first. Toyagic jumps the pass and knocks it out of bounds. A little bit of a lazy pass that time from Aaron Williams. Toyagic came from behind Dallas Metzger. Couldn't keep it in, so McPherson will inbound again. Williams throws it away again. This time it's intercepted by Makai Wilson. Wilson misses the layup. Toyagic's second chance gives St. Xavier a 2-point lead. This time Williams and company easily get it across half court. Here's Curtis Rose. Over to Charles Snyder. Through the hands of Rose, but he keeps it alive, 12 to shoot. Deep 3, Metzger, too strong, rebound to Toyagic. Here's Makai Wilson along the baseline. Wilson fires it out to DJ Shelton. Shelton drives, Shelton misses at the rim. Rebound to the Bulldogs. Rose along the sideline, crosses over. Step back jumper from the baseline, no good. Rebound deflected, out of bounds. St. Xavier ball. Just about halfway through this second half, St. Xavier has outscored McPherson 39-22 since halftime. And again, if you're McPherson, 22 points in 10 minutes is a pretty good number. It's usually going to be enough to give you the lead. In this case, it's been enough for them to cough up a 15-point lead. St. Xavier is scoring like crazy in the second half. And there's Davion Lawrence, as if to prove my point. Biggest lead of the game for the Cougars. Williams fires the three, and now it's just a 1-point game. Here's a drive from Sando Hill right on Aaron Williams, and he lays it in. Sando Hill for two. Metzger gets Hill in the air. Metzger takes it inside, lob for KJ Marshall. One dribble, Marshall scores. Not a lot of defense at this point in the game. St. Xavier 80, McPherson 79. Step back three, Hill knocks it down. Metzger across half court. Dallas Metzger picked up by DJ Shelton. And now McPherson slows it down a touch. Here's Curtis Rose, the shot clock winding under 10. Ball knocked loose, and Shelton is called for the foul. That's number 3 on Shelton, so he is the 4th Cougar with at least 3 fouls. It is number 6 on St. Xavier, so they've hit their limit. The rest of the fouls will send McPherson to the line. 8:43 to play. 83-79 St. Xavier. McPherson basketball coming out of the timeout. (83-79). Cougars have the lead. This is the biggest lead that St. Xavier's had all day. McPherson has been up by as many as 15. At halftime, it was 52-37. But St. Xavier has gone crazy offensively in this second half. They've scored 46 points in the first 11-17 of the second half. They struggled on the offensive side a lot in the first half. Missed a lot of shots. They went just 3 of 12 from the outside, just 9 of 19 inside the arc. But they're making darn near everything so far this half. Terrence Austin back into inbound. Jamil Hardaway is back in as well. He passes off to Curtis Rose. Aaron Williams stays on the floor. Rose drives with the right hand, and Rose is fouled. That's on Jordan Jackson. I think that's number 3 on him. So Jackson's got 3. DJ Shelton just picked up his 3rd just prior to the timeout. Julian Barr's got 3. Kevin Bishop has 4. Free throw is good from Rose. Davion Lawrence has 3 fouls as well. McPherson's a good free throw shooting team. That's going to be a big deal for them in this second half. DJ Shelton crosses over on Aaron Williams. Hands it off to Andre Brandon. Jordan Jackson at the free throw line, bounces to Brandon, going one-on-one with KJ Marshall. Brandon scores off the backboard. Bulldogs beat the press. It's Williams getting it ahead to Hardaway. And it's knocked away from Hardaway, but Julian Barr dribbles it off the leg of Curtis Rose, who's immediately fouled by Jordan Jackson, the fifth on him. Or the fourth, sorry, fourth foul on Jackson. So Curtis Rose is going back to the free throw line.
Curtis Rose at the line for the 1-and-1.
Rose makes the front end of the 1-and-1. One more shot coming for him. Makai Wilson checks in for Jordan Jackson. Robert Ford's going to have to play a lot of mix and match with his subs down the stretch here. Two of his starters already have 4 fouls. In fact, that's the 2 leading scorers this season for the team, Jordan Jackson and Kevin Bishop, who both have 4. 2-point game. Julian Barr makes it a 5-point game. So the bad news for St. Xavier is they've got a lot of foul trouble. The good news is they don't miss any shots anymore. Here's a 3 for Jamil Hardaway. They do occasionally miss. Hardaway can't make it a 2-point game again. St. Xavier trying to create a little separation. DJ Shelton drives on Marshall, kicks it into the corner. Wilson for 3, and a rare miss for the Cougars, but an offensive rebound. Ashton Atwater keeping it alive. Andre Brandon takes it in on Marshall. He's fouled and he finishes. Andre Brandon headed to the line to try to make this an 8-point game. Timeout called by McPherson. 90-83, they trail. McPherson is doing all they can offensively to stay in this game, but not on the other end of the floor. St. Xavier has scored 53 points in the second half. That's an enormous number for any half of basketball. But when you consider there's still 7 minutes and 13 seconds to play, it's just that much crazier. This is a team that averages over 97 points per game. Their season high is 117. They've cracked the century mark 4 times in their first 11 games, and I'd say they're a pretty safe bet to get there again today. Their season low in scoring is 79. It's the only time all year they've been held under 80, and that came in this building in a 1-point loss to Lords back on December 1st. But since then, they've scored over 90 every time out. They're 2-1 in those 3 games, this being their 4th. McPherson has led most of this game, but now this is the most they've trailed by all day. Their offense has not suffered. It's been the defense that's been a problem, but it can't help that they don't have Colin Storr out there. Storr averages 14.5 points per game. He scored, coming into today, 55 points in his last 2 games. Today he had just 6, but had to leave after 10 minutes with an injury, and we have not seen him since. Presumably, if he can't go the rest of the day today, he's not going to be available for tomorrow either. Not a definite, but one would think. They're playing St. Francis tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Inbounded to Jamil Hardaway. Contact with DJ Shelton, but no foul. A race down the floor. McPherson is able to get across half court as Hardaway is fouled shooting a 3. Number 4 on DJ Shelton. So 3 free throws here for Hardaway. McPherson is in the double bonus. So they'll get 2 shots on fouls going forward, unless it's a 3-point attempt like this. Hardaway makes the first one. 91-84. Sando Hill is waiting to check in for St. Xavier. Neither Bishop nor Jackson have budged from the bench since going down with 4 fouls. In the case of Jackson, it just happened about 50 seconds ago. Kevin Bishop, who's had a really nice game today, has not been heard from now in a while. It's been about 4 minutes since he picked up his 4th. Hardaway looking to go 3 for 3 from the line, but he misses off the back iron. It's a 6-point game. Hill gives it to Brandon. Ashton Atwater works against Curtis Rose. Down to the corner, it's Hill. Sando Hill drives on Austin, stripped, and a foul called on Austin. So now St. Xavier's in the bonus as well. Both teams are with 6:47 to play. McPherson's in the double bonus. This was a shooting foul. So Sando Hill gets 2 attempts. First one goes in. Hill is a 5-point per game scorer, 75% from the line. Two for 2, 93-85 Cougars. Rose inbounds to Austin, right back to Curtis Rose. Here comes Antonio Watson. Round to the left side, Austin. Goes to his right, puts the ball behind his back, draws the foul, and finishes at the rim. Great play by Terrence Austin. And he goes to the line as Makai Wilson picks up the foul. That is just the first foul on Makai Wilson. I didn't know there was anybody left. Austin makes the free throw, 93-88. We still got a good game going. 6.5 minutes to play. The question for the Bulldogs is, are they going to be able to get enough stops down the stretch? They got a stop there as Sando Hill is turned away by KJ Marshall. Quickly the other side, Antonio Watson misses the runner. Fight for the loose ball, won by Makai Wilson. And Wilson runs, 2 on 3. Wilson takes it into the teeth of the defense anyway and scores. Jamil Hardaway bounces once and passes to Watson. Watson gives to Austin. Austin backs up, shot clock at 9. Terrence Austin has it stripped, ball loose and secured by Ashton Atwater. St. Xavier sets up their offense. Brandon inside, no, but he's fouled. With 5:29 on the clock, Andre Brandon's going to the line for 2.
McPherson foul number 20, KJ Marshall, his score, Team Xavier.
4th foul on KJ Marshall. Both teams have foul trouble. 2 of St. Xavier's starters are on the bench with 4, although they haven't seemed to miss them. Their lead has grown since Bishop and Jackson had to leave. So Marshall departs. Ty Schroeder is back in. He's got 3 fouls. His 3 come in just 5 minutes played. Rose lobs it in, nobody there. Nearly taken away by Wilson. Loose ball on the floor. And we got a foul on McPherson. So free throws coming up for the Cougars. This will be a 1-and-1 for Sando Hill. Foul on Jamil Hardaway. He grabbed at the ankle of Sando Hill with the ball loose on the floor. St. Xavier can take a double-digit lead. They were down by 15 at halftime. And they're trying to turn that into a 25-point turnaround in just under 15 minutes. They've scored over 60 points this half. well on their way to 70 plus. (99-88) down the free throws. Inbounded to Hardaway. Austin to Watson. Watson goes one-on-one with Brandon, and he's fouled. So Antonio Watson will go to the line for 2 shots. So Andre Brandon is called for his second foul. Watson trying to get this one back down to single digits. He misses the first shot. 77% from the line this year. Davion Lawrence checks in for St. Xavier. Sando Hill goes to the bench. Watson goes 1 for 2. 99-89. 5:19 to play. Curtis Rose tries to jump in front of the pass. McPherson puts on the press for the first time today, but they're called for the foul. That one goes on Jamil Hardaway. The patented St. Xavier move, putting on a 5-man press. Well, 4-man press anyway. It works out the way it has for St. Xavier so many times today as well, committing a foul. Two shots for Ashton Atwater. Both teams are in the double bonus. Atwater hits the century mark for St. Xavier, 100-89. And now it's 101-89. St. Xavier extends their biggest lead of the day. Inbounded to Antonio Watson. Back to Curtis Rose. Here comes Jamil Hardaway. Rose drives on Lawrence. He's fouled. Well, I said it in the first half. The officials at the time were calling a tight game. I said, if you want to call a tight game with St. Xavier out there, it means we're going to get a lot of free throws. They have not really changed the way that they've officiated, and as a result, we have indeed had a ton of fouls in this one, going both ways. Rose makes the first of 2 foul shots. One more to make it a 10-point game. 101-91, just over 5 minutes to play. Julian Barr finds Ashton Atwater. Atwater goes one-on-one down the floor with Antonio Watson. Makai Wilson drives from the corner, scores, and one. Another foul, another free throw coming up. Another good play by Makai Wilson, sorry. And we've got a timeout with 4:57 on the clock. St. Xavier 103, McPherson 91. I'll be back in a minute. (103-91), St. Xavier leads. So they're in pretty good position to come away with the victory today, but certainly not over. We've seen some weird swings in this game. The Cougars have taken over by making all their shots essentially in the second half. They have been unstoppable. They have not changed their style of play. They're still speeding things up, and with this amount of time left, McPherson knows if they can force a few turnovers, get a few stops, they're going to have more than enough opportunities to get themselves back in it. But those stops, those turnovers have not been abundant in the second half. Free throw is good for Wilson. It's a three-point play. Curtis Rose down the floor. Rose kicks to Schroeder. Schroeder was cutting, and Rose sent it down to where he had started the play. Some miscommunication leads to a turnover. St. Xavier ball. KJ Marshall is back in with 4:49 on the clock, 4 fouls. Both of St. Xavier's players with 4 fouls have remained on the bench. They haven't needed them. Their lead has grown with their 2 leading scorers out of the game. Foul called on Jamil Hardaway. Andre Brandon is going back to the line.
McPherson foul number 1, Jamil Hardaway, his third.
Brandon looks to extend the Cougars' lead. It is a 2-shot foul as he makes the first. Both teams will get 2 shots on fouls the rest of the game. Aaron Williams comes in for Antonio Watson for McPherson. Williams played really well over a brief second half stretch earlier. Let's see if he can recapture that. Brandon goes 1 for 2 as Marshall grabs the loose ball. Rose, good crossover on Atwater, gets to the basket where he's blocked by Brandon. Andre Brandon gets a block a game. That was his 1 for today. Didn't want to miss out on his pace. 3-pointer misses from Terrence Austin. Makai Wilson grabs the rebound. Here comes Ashton Atwater. Atwater out to Brandon. 3-pointer, no. And Marshall is fouled on the rebound. So St. Xavier finally is starting to cool off a little bit after a long hot streak. But they've got the 14-point lead. So they're in good shape to win this one, whether or not they find their shooting stroke again. 2 shots for KJ Marshall. He makes the first. Got them both. 105-93. Here's the pressure from McPherson. Brandon cross half court, finds Davion Lawrence. Now it's 2-on-2. Lawrence underneath to Wilson. Wilson lays it in. KJ Marshall right around Julian Barr for the layup. Lawrence passes to Barr. Barr lobs it down the floor to Makai Wilson. Wilson drives around Marshall and comes up a little bit short. Well, now's where McPherson wants to make their run. Rose looks to cut it to 9. He does. 107-98. Bulldogs are still hanging around. Lawrence across half court. Davion Lawrence gets around Hardaway. Passes back to Brandon, and the Cougars slow it down a bit. Brandon drives right to Marshall, and he misses the dunk. Loose ball out of bounds, going the other way. Well, Brandon went right at KJ Marshall. He knew that Marshall was not going to come hard at him. He's got 4 fouls, so he didn't want to pick up number 5. So Marshall jumped, but he was kind of moving backwards as he did to make sure there was no contact. Brandon had a chance to put an exclamation point on this, but he missed it. And now the door is open for McPherson. Austin gives it back to Hardaway. 3-pointer, no. Rebound Andre Brandon. Here come the Cougars on the move. That's Jackson in the corner for Wilson. And Makai Wilson nails the 3. Terrence Austin, other side, spins into a double team. Ball knocked loose, out of bounds, and it was last touched by Austin. 30-second timeout called by McPherson. They trail 110 to 98. St. Xavier has been making their free throws. They've been sent to the line a lot. They've shot them at a high percentage today. There's nobody out there, especially with Kevin Bishop still on the bench, that McPherson would say to extend the game, just foul him, send him to the line. St. Xavier has scored 73 points in the second half. Turn a 15-point deficit into a 12-point lead. McPherson has played well on the offensive end, but there's only so much you can do when the other team scores 73. This is the 5th time this year that St. Xavier has scored 100 in a game. For McPherson, they are on the verge of their 2nd time this year scoring 100. This would be the 3rd time this year that St. Xavier has allowed 100. So they've scored triple digits 5 times. Looks like they're going to allow it for a 3rd time. So a lot of points when the Cougars are on the floor. That's the takeaway. Ashton Atwater sets things up. 2.5 minutes to play in the game. 15 on the shot clock. Atwater guarded tightly by Hardaway. Finally makes his move with 8 seconds to shoot. Pass deflected. Wilson tracks it down. Deep three from Makai Wilson. Banks it in. A desperation shot with the shot clock running down. Everything is going St. Xavier's way right now, including that. Terrence Austin misses the three, but Wilson is called for the loose ball foul. Going up against Aaron Williams, so Williams will go to the line.
St. Xavier foul number 3, Makai Wilson, his 3rd.
First free throw of 2 for Williams is good. 113.99. Prior to that shot, it had been a 30-point turnaround for St. Xavier, from down 15 at halftime to up 15 late in the second half. Now it's a 13-point game. And again, McPherson has hit the century mark for the 2nd time this year. Season high is 101 against Manhattan Christian back on November 14th. St. Xavier's season high is 117. So they're close to passing that one. Atwater out to Wilson. Wilson fires another 3. Rims out. Fight for the rebound. Grabbed by Julian Barr. St. Xavier will run a little more clock here. Jordan Jackson is bumped by Terrence Austin. And Jackson will go to the line for 2 shots.
McPherson foul number 12, Terrence Austin, his 4th.
First free throw for Jackson is on the mark. 114-100. Dallas Metzger comes in for Curtis Rose for McPherson. One more shot. 86 seconds remaining in the game. St. Xavier's trying to ice it away. Second free throw misses. Here come the Bulldogs. Williams drives, and he's fouled, and he's able to finish. Ashton Atwater got the contact.
St. Xavier foul number 0, Ashton Atwater, his 1st.
So Williams will try to make it a 3-point play. Aaron Williams has played well today. Particularly in the second half. He only played 6 minutes in the first. He's been out there a lot more and been very productive since halftime. 114-103. Pass goes into Atwater, in and out of his hands, but he's able to keep it alive as he finds Jordan Jackson. Jackson trying to get it across half court. He's able to Julian Barr, and Barr is quickly fouled. Or was that a timeout? Timeout called by St. Xavier. 1:08 to play in the game. And now they are in a position that they're not usually in. Just slow things down. Run as much clock as possible. They've already used up 9 seconds on this possession. An 11-point game. We'll see if McPherson elects to play the fouling game or not. But that's really all they can do at this point. Otherwise, St. Xavier is just 2 possessions away from running the clock out. McPherson comes out onto the floor with Hardaway, Austin, Williams, Metzger, and Marshall. St. Xavier will counter with Hill, Barr, Wilson, Jackson, and Brandon. They've played without Kevin Bishop on the floor for most of this second half. He picked up his 4th foul pretty early in the half. And they've never turned back to him. They haven't needed to. The lineup they've had on the floor has been so good. 6 to shoot. This is Jordan Jackson getting around 2 defenders. Jackson into the lane, out to Sando Hill. 3-pointer is good. At the buzzer, Hill knocks it down. So the Cougars have matched their season high with 117 points. They have scored 80 this half. Aaron Williams out of control, but bailed out with a foul call late on the play. 80 points in 1 half for St. Xavier. McPherson had a 15-point lead at halftime. They've scored 51 points here in the second half. Make it 52. You have a 15-point lead and then score 52 in the second half. It sounds like it's going to be a huge blowout, and that has not been the case. Instead, they're down by 12. St. Xavier is able to get it across half court. They cannot dribble out the clock. There's a 7-second difference here. Jordan Jackson drives, and Jackson finishes with the flush. With 20 seconds left in the game, it looks like St. Xavier will wrap it up with 82 points this half. 119 for the game, a new season high for them. Metzger hits the 3 with 10.8 on the clock. And St. Xavier just needs to get it across half court. They do to Makai Wilson. Now Wilson will let the clock run out. Actually, he doesn't. Jackson will let the clock run out. And now the game is over. 119-108. What a performance from St. Xavier in the second half of this game. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. 82 points in the second half. They just stopped missing shots, number one. They didn't turn the ball over much in the second half either. They had a little problem with that in the first, as McPherson came up with 7 steals. McPherson didn't have any offensive problems in this game. They scored 52 in the second half. 52 in the first half, 52 in the second, and that is usually a pretty good recipe for a dominant win. But no, St. Xavier got off to that slow, for them, offensive start. 37 in the first half is not a bad number. It puts you on pace for 74 for the game, and most teams will take that. But for a St. Xavier team that averages about 49 points per half, that 37 was a little bit of a surprise in the first 20 minutes today. And they turned on the gas in the second half. 82 points as they run away to a 15-point victory. So that'll do it from St. Francis today. Thanks for tuning in to game number 2 of our doubleheader. St. Xavier defeats McPherson. Both of these teams will play tomorrow. McPherson will move up a couple of hours. They play in the early contest. They take on St. Francis at 1 o'clock. And then St. Xavier plays Goshen in the later afternoon game, tentatively scheduled for 3 o'clock, but really It'll start about a half hour after the end of game 1, whenever that turns out to be. So our winners today are the CCAC teams. St. Francis takes game 1, St. Xavier takes game 2. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock and around 3 o'clock for another doubleheader of basketball action, day 2 of the USF New Year's Classic. Until then, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off from the University of St. Francis. Have a good night.